There are three methods for finding the value of a percentage part of a whole. There's the fraction method, the unitary method, and the decimal method. We're going to take a look at each of these methods. Let's take a look at this example. There were 500 people at a concert. 30% of them were children. How many children were at the concert? So we're wanting to know a percentage of a whole. Our whole amount is 500 people. That would be 100%. We want to find what 30% of 500 is. We don't know the number of children yet, but we're going to find out. We're going to solve it first using the unitary method. In the unitary method, I want to find out what just 1 unit is, or just 1%. So I'm going to find 1% of 500. I'm going to rewrite it as a fraction so I can multiply. Here I can see that I can cross-cancel because 100 and 500 are both divisible by 100. So I'm going to cross-cancel and solve. Now I'll multiply my numerators and my denominators and get 5 over 1, which is the same as 5. So 1% equals 5, but we want to know 30%. So I need to know what 30 1% are. So to find 30%, I'm going to multiply 5 times 30. So 30% equals 150. There are 150 children at the concert. So in the unitary method, we find just 1 unit or 1%, and then we calculate based on the percentage that we want. Let's solve another problem using this method. Follow along as I solve 40% of 400 using the unitary method. Now let's take a look at that same problem that we started with, but let's solve it using a different method. This time, we're going to use the fraction method. In the fraction method, we're still solving the same problem. We still want to find 30% of 500. But instead of finding just 1%, we're going to find the whole thing, the whole 30% of 500, by changing 30% into a fraction. We can rewrite 30% as 30 over 100, and we're multiplying that times 500. So now I can see that I can cross-cancel. So I'm going to cross-cancel and solve. I'm going to cancel my 100 and 500 because both are divisible by 100. Now I'm going to multiply my numerators and my denominators as I've learned to do in the past. So 30 times 5 equals 150, and my denominator is 1. 150 over 1 is the same as 150. So once again, we've found that there are 150 children at the concert. 30% of 500 is 150. Let's solve another problem using this method. We're going to solve 25% of 360 meters. Follow along as I solve this problem using the fraction method. Let's take a look at that same word problem we started with one last time. This time we're going to solve using the decimal method. Once again, we are solving 30% of 500. But this time, instead of rewriting it as a fraction of a quantity, we're going to rewrite the percentage as a decimal. Now I know that 30% is the same as 30 over 100. If I simplify that, it's the same as 3/10. So I can write that percentage as a decimal, which would be 0.3, and multiply that times my quantity. So now we have a problem that we can solve either mentally, or you can write it out and solve it. When you solve it, you will find that it equals 150. So in this method, we changed the percentage into a decimal and then multiplied it by the quantity. And we once again found that there are 150 children at the concert. Let's solve another problem using this method. We're going to solve 10% of 1,200 feet. Follow along as I solve this problem using the decimal method.